Hi friends, last minute Lizbeth here, getting our last card of the bundle done, and then I will get all my videos uploaded for those of you attending virtually, because there's a few of you. But this card is going to be a work in progress, so a lot of times I do a prototype. This is my prototype. It's not going to be exactly like that, but let's get going. So we did a shaker card. If you were in last month's class, we did a shaker card in that class. We're doing a different shaker card in this class. You do have a bundle of things that you'll need for your shaker. You also have a little package of sequins. These aren't Stampin' Up. I found them on Etsy. I wanted specific colors, so that's that. And then you're going to use some of these for the embellishment on the front, but most are the embellishment on the inside actually. But most of them are going to go in your shaker. So if you shake them, you'll see we have some leaves in there. Okay. So let's get started here. This particular piece is for us to stamp our leaf on. This is for our envelope. So I'm going to put that in my envelope and put that aside. Okay. This is for our inside. This is for our shaker front. This is for our inside. And this is our back. Okay. Really important when you're doing this card to kind of pay attention to how the assembly is, and it's a little different. You are also going to need to make sure that you have a very strong adhesive. I recommend using tearing tape. I believe everybody that's participating would either have that or went to my last class where they received that. So to assemble, we're going to start with the front. And you want to make sure two things. You want to make sure that your flap is at the bottom. Okay, this is your flap. And this, where it folds up, the longer piece is in the front. So when it folds up and closes, that is going to be on the inside of the card. The other thing is we're going to pop this piece of vellum directly into our card. And we are going to squish it all the way over to the left. Okay, so when you're looking at it, you are going to have this kind of flap right here. That's your mechanism. So what I would do is I would go ahead and just fold that over, take your bone folder, give it a nice press there. Okay, that's kind of your mechanism for inside. And don't do as I say, do as I tell you, show you. You actually want to fold this to the front. So it's okay if you did it the wrong way, because you're going to put it like just kind of put some muscle memory in this squeeze. So when you have this, this is kind of your assembly. Hold on, I want to make sure I have this right. This card is going to go together like this. Okay. So I had it right the first time. I'm looking at the front, so the longer flap is here, see? And this is going to go back. Your back of the card is actually, if this is a normal 8.5, 5.5, the score goes on the outside. This mechanism is going to go like this. This is all going to seal together. This is how you open, see? Okay? Like that. Okay? Don't worry about that. You can see that paper in there. It's okay. This is actually going to go like that when we get to it. So we have our piece. We have the long flap on the front. We have our vellum inside. We have the long flap to the front and the adhesive going to the back. And then we have this extra piece scored and folded backwards. Okay. So I'm going to put all that aside for a moment. And we are going to build out our adhesive. So I've got my card base. I'm going to reinforce my score there. And I am going to put my tear and tape. So my tear and tape is going on this right side towards the score. You want this to be like this. This is going to kind of hold it together. And then I'm going to put it here. Actually, I'm not going to put it there. I'm going to put it there. So this is your assembly point, okay? So this is how your tear and tape should go inside, okay? So we're going to leave this on right now. And the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and I'm going to just use my pick tool to get this, because you want this to be like down really good. And I'm going to get my pick tool to kind of pick up the stuff, okay? All right, so we're going to do the mechanism now. So this is going to close. Sorry. This is going to close. So we're going to put this here. All right. Okay. So when I open my card, because once I put more adhesive, that's going to go. So that's how that's going to sit right now. So for right now, that's all we're going to do. And then go ahead and burnish this down really good. And we are going to add another piece of tear and tape on this side here. Okay. So remember, when you're doing this, you do not want to open any of the tear and tape until you have this in where you want it to be, okay? So I've got that nice and good. This is like, if I had it all glued together and closed up, this is how my card opens, okay? All right, so same thing, I'm just gonna burnish that down so I can get this top off. I want this put really good together before I put any of my sequins in or do any of that, because what you'll see happens is that sometimes it doesn't want to close for you because you have your sequins like get into the grooves like on this one, so you kind of have to move it around, but I think it's kind of fun. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to take this and I'm going to close it. And I'm going to burnish it, and now I have my basic of my card done. Okay, leave that. Now you could do this if you were doing another pattern. If you were doing another pattern, you could put it at the top, but the way that my card builds, it's kind of going to be hidden. So I'm just folding this up. There's a little flap here, so I'm folding it up, grooving it along there. Okay. So you can kind of see that when this folds, again, use your bone folder, kind of get in there. If you want to cut that piece off, you can, but I'm going to kind of leave it there for some stability. But when you look at the inside of the card, you don't want to see all those mechanics, so it's kind of covered up. Okay, so we're not going to do anything until we fully assemble all of our pieces. We're actually not even going to put our layers on here till we do that. So I'm going to take that, put it aside, do our stamping. So we are stamping with copper clay, and I'm going to stamp my leaf. Okay. Just like when we did that mauve the other day, it's gonna dry, it's gonna settle, it looks a little dark at the beginning. I'm gonna get that fully dry because I don't want any of my embossing powder to get on there. I'm gonna emboss the spine, so got my spine stamp all inked up. And I'm gonna stamp that on there. And then I'm going to bring in my embossing stuff. Okay. And I'm going to put my embossing powder on. You can put it in the thing to get it going. You can do it. Now this is going to be like, we're going to die cut this, so that doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to go ahead and clean it up with my brush. Okay. The only place this should be embossing is on the spine. So we will get this cut up, put that away. I need my little tweezers here. Oops. Put that aside, and let's go ahead and get a hold of that. Find our heat gun. Heat gun's not heated up because I haven't used it since the other night, so just gonna take a few minutes to get that kind of up and going. But you will see, constantly move the heat gun around. You don't want to burn your paper. This thing is pretty hot, so you don't want to hold it by your fingers either, because it will hit you. So you can start seeing those are starting to turn. See, there you go. Okay, now my stamp was still a little wet, my dye in the back, so it did grab some of that ink onto the other ink. So if you wanted to do it earlier, I actually think it kind of looks pretty with that little bit of sparkle on it, so I'm not going to worry about it. And then I'm just going to go over everywhere to make sure I don't have any extra ink or anything like that. Once you do that, once you do that and it's dry, you can kind of just wait a minute, make sure it's cool to the touch, and you could go in and get any of that off. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and cut our leaf out. Actually, I already have it out here. So we're gonna line this up and use one of our Post-it notes from the other night here. Pull out my cut and emboss. Okay. That didn't even stick. Look at that. Pitiful. Okay. Okay, and then get my Stampin' piece and my plates that I need. On there, pull this out and make sure that that's exactly where I want it. I actually have another piece over here, so I'm going to put another one right there just to hold it in this place. Okay, get that in there. Everything else that you need is die cut. I just didn't die cut these where you wanted to stamp and cut out. Just, it's easier to deal with. You get a better, cleaner border even. Sometimes not, but that's okay. All right. So we're gonna start with the front, and I'm going to pull out my little accessory pack here. And I need this. And I need that, okay? So I'm gonna make sure I got the right side, because you know there's a right and a wrong side. You can tell by one looks has a little cleaner. Now if you wanted to, you could go ahead and emboss your words. I actually just chose to do it the same color because I'm doing it on the inside. I love the little words that come with this, but they are a little tougher to stamp and emboss with because they do tend to and you have two of these, you want one of these, they do tend to plug up a little bit. So I'm going to take the one for the inside and stamp my little words that say today and every day, and I'm just going to put that over here in the bottom corner. So I have that done. All right, so notice this had this really fun little thing going on. We're just going to cut this in half and make that fun little thing. So all I'm doing, don't even worry if it's straight, because it's going to be on the back and you're not going to see it. Put this out of the way. And we are going to get our ink going. Make sure you have the right direction both sides. And I'm just going to put a bit of ink down the middle there. Okay. And I am going to glue this on. So I'm just centering this so you can see you have like that little flap right there. Same thing. That's why your glue needs to be down and kind of towards the cut line. Okay, so we have our grateful heart that's going to go on the front. You're going to take a little piece of your ribbon, not very much. Let's see if I can pull this back so you can kind of see. We're putting it on like that. We're going all the way across just in case it does show on the back side. It doesn't look too ugly. Hope you can see that. So I'm just gonna take a piece of ribbon. I use my ribbon scissors because otherwise those will gnaw at it. I'll cut it longer than I want because I don't want it to be too bad. And then I'm just gonna start fraying. And you can just cut those off. Okay. If you want to do it a little bit so it's a little easier, you could cut off the edges here, just back as far as you want to go. So say we only want to go back about that far and about that far. Oops. Just getting that spine because that's kind of what's holding that together. Okay, and then now you can start pulling that out how you want it. Okay, not quite giving me what I want here. Let's start that again. We're gonna cut that off. I gave myself more than enough room. Okay, I actually want these to come this way. I don't want the other direction to come, so because I want this kind of and then as they come out to help you can kind of just go in and cut those verticals, not the horizontals. And we've got about a good, I don't know, it looks like about 3/4 to an inch. Okay, and you can cut these off as you go. And I'm just kind of going in there. Without cutting those verticals, I'm cutting the horizontal pieces out. Kind of getting that where I want it. Okay? So I've got it pretty clear. I got what I wanted. Okay. You can pull those out if you want. You can trim those up if you want. However you want. It's just supposed to look a little rough. Okay? So you've got that. Got plenty of there. See that? Let's see. When I did this, I didn't cut off the edge. I did cut off the edge a little bit, like right up to there, just to help clean it up, but I didn't go back further. Okay. Same thing over here. I'm probably just gonna snip right that little piece right there. That'll clean it up, and that gets it a little bit. Okay. And then I'm gonna, okay. Clean up, clean up, clean up, clean up aisle 4. All right. So I kind of got that how I wanted. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that on. I'm gonna put 2 dimensionals over here on the side. Like here, normally I would tell you no dimensionals on ribbon because it gets a little wonky, but that's kind of what we did there. So can you see that? Okay. And we put those actually between, we put them in 2 spots. So we put it here. Okay. So you got the one. And then I'm going to put another layer on just to keep it from getting overly wonky and holding that ribbon in place. So you're going to use a total of 4 right there. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it how I want it on my card. Now I'm putting my leaf kind of off to the side because I didn't want that awkward spot where that spine came down. And then if you want, you can just drop a dot of adhesive right here to kind of hold that in place. It'll dry, but that's all you need there. And that was it for the front. Okay, when we put this on, we're going to be really careful and strategic about where we put and you can see I'm going to shake that down so you get all those. I'm being careful and strategic where I put my adhesive on here, so that it's covered by this. Now, in your case, you don't have that DSP. Again, Tetris, you have another piece. You'll just have a white piece, so another place you can write on the inside. All right, so let's get this assembled now, okay? Again, I am saving putting the stuff on the inside till I am completely done. So if I want to make some adjustments, I can make some adjustments. But I'm going to start here. And I'm actually going to use tear and tape on this because the dimensionals might be a little wonky. Put it like kind of like this. I think that that's going to be covered up pretty well. All right. I'm hoping it is. You know, before I test it, I can always go inside. So you're not going to see that much. You're going to see that straight. I'm going to move it up a little bit. I'm going to take my other piece, kind of see. So see, yep, totally covers it up. Okay. So let's go ahead and pull this off. Pull that off. Oops. Close, close, close. And get this exactly how I want it. So I'm going to go right about there. It's going to be covered. We'll clean all this up when we're done assembling everything, so don't worry about how that looks right now. Okay, so we have that. We're going to come in here. We're going to put our other piece on the inside. Same thing. We want to be a little careful about the adhesive. It's probably going to show a little bit. I'm trying to look to see. It didn't show too much. I have it glued down pretty good. Looks like it dried pretty clear. So make sure that you're doing the right side. So I'm going to put a little adhesive. It's going to take probably a few minutes to hold on, and you want to be careful until it dries because remember this glue slides around. So while that's sitting there for a minute, I'm going to take a minute and clean up my space that I've gotten a little out of control, typical of how I stamp. Any other messy stampers here? You should have seen last night when I was making my Taylor Swift friendship bracelets. Oh man, I was all over it. Okay. Muting, dogs are barking. Sorry.